A teenager blocks a bridge for fun. A journalist talks too much and gets into trouble. A celebrity under the influence insults left and right while being recorded. What do all these people have in common? They messed with the wrong people, the masters and the owners of Mexico, the narcos. What do you think happened to these people? Get ready, because you're about to see the influence of social media in the world of cartels. Rulofo Fofo Marquez. It began on July 8, 2022. Rulofo Fofo Marquez, in a delirious episode, decided to completely close a busy avenue. In this case, the Matute Ramos Bridge, in the city of Guadalajara, Jalisco. The question is, why? Well, according to Rulofos' own words, so they can see again what money can do here in Mexico. It is clear that this testimony reflects the immaturity and ego of Marquez. In reality, it is completely distorted. Rulofo is the son of the owner of Total, one of the most important gas stations in Mexico. Money was always within his reach, allowing him to showcase his luxuries on TikTok and Instagram, where he began to go viral and became controversial. With this, I believe we can fully profile Marquez. Being young, fame and money blinded him. It was only a matter of time before he crossed the line. This is where the incident of the bridge comes into play, an event that angered the wrong people. Perhaps if this had just happened in another country, it would have been forgotten, but in Mexico, this is a death sentence. We are talking about one of the most dangerous countries in the world, a place completely controlled by cartels and organized crime. You know what's worse? That Fofo had the guts to close a vital road in the city of Guadalajara, the capital of the state of Jalisco. A border state that is completely taken over by the most terrifying and bloodthirsty cartel in Mexico, Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, known as the CJNG. The four-letter cartel is characterized by its ruthless operational methods, trafficking of arms and illicit substances, terrorism, extortion, and assassination. Its leader is Nemesio Aguada Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the most powerful capo in Jalisco, and one of the most powerful in Mexico, a guy with no principles or morals, a demon on earth. The CJNG was created in 2007. The organization quickly began to gain fame and power in Mexico for its ruthless acts. The escalation of power and terror was brutal. El Mencho built his empire through the blood and fear of Mexicans. However, he could never surpass the Sinaloa cartel in its golden age. He was constantly close, but the dominance of El Chapo Guzman was always tough. Now you can understand to what extent Marquez's life was at risk. Our young influencer challenged the power of the CJNG, a recipe for disaster. Fofo closed the bridge for several minutes, all the while mocking people. Rulofo posted the incident on social media, and, as you can imagine, it went viral within hours. People were upset with his immature behavior. The situation got a lot worse, fast. Even the mayor of Guadalajara spoke out about the case. Everyone was against him. Fofo's world was completely wrecked. Marquez had to apologize, accepting to perform community service on the same bridge he blocked. What could be worse than all this? Things cooled down, and that's when the CJNG decided to play. It only took sending a simple message posted on Facebook from an account called Gente con la Gente NG. The message reads as follows. Hello to all the people of Guadalajara. We are the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. As many of you know, or are aware, the influencer or scum named Fofo Marquez dared to close the circulation of the Matute Ramos Bridge, which is an act we do not tolerate. We will not let any asshole like this come and do these kind of things. We are the ones in charge in Jalisco and throughout Mexico. And to you, Fofo, we will just tell you to be careful, because we won't let you come to Guadalajara thinking you can do whatever you want. Here in Jalisco, Mencho is in charge. If we see you in Guadalajara again, we will pick you up, and even all of your money won't help you then. This message could send shivers down anyone's spine. Being in the sights of such a bloodthirsty cartel like the CJNG is no small matter. They wanted to make a point. Mencho is the most powerful capo in Guadalajara. He is the ultimate authority. Rulofo feared for his life. He knew it hung by a thread. No one would protect him. This was real, not his childish and immature reality. Like a frightened rat, he sought refuge in his affluent parents' mansion, waiting for his death, knowing that this wouldn't change anything. Over 30 security men were hired, armed to the teeth, ready to watch over the mansion day and night, prepared to protect young Fofo. Everyone knew this would never stop the CJNG. Their arsenal was on a military level. The political influence of this group was palpable. Their infection, like a virus, had penetrated the corrupt Mexican government. Fofo was terrified. Paranoia had set in. He simply waited for the ambush, the attack. It never came. Months passed and there was no sign of the CJNG. Something very curious. What could have been the cause? Why was Rulofo spared? Check out the good side. Despite his immense stupidity, Rulofo didn't meet his end at the hands of one of the most terrifying cartels in Mexico, unlike the next influencer. Imagine being drunk to the point of no return, all your senses clouded, your reality and reasoning vanish, only to then insult the most vulgar manner of one of the most dangerous and powerful drug lords in all of Mexico, El Mencho. Allow me to introduce you to Juan Luis Laguna Rosales, popularly known by his pseudonym, the Pirate of Culiacán. His tragic story begins at the age of 17, when the internet first encountered him on the day some supposed friends filmed him smashing his forehead against the ground after excessively getting drunk. That day marked the birth of the pirate, the character that would seal his fate. Louis was a short teenager, from humble beginnings with an absent family, an opposite specter to Fofo. The hostile environment and narco-culture influenced him by infuriating him to the core. It became, as for many low-income Mexicans, his ultimate aspiration. This forced him to move to Sinaloa, the cradle of drug trafficking. He understood it. If he drank, they applauded. This pushed him to drink more, falling into a spiral of destruction, becoming an internet buffoon. Setting aside the morbid aspect, we can understand how tragic his life was. Louis never finished school. His life was simply about trying to survive and getting drunk. Remember, he was underage, a fact that made the whole situation even more troubling. Consuming deadly amounts of alcohol became his daily routine. He was a YouTube and Facebook celebrity, even being interviewed. It's clear that Louis felt his life was improving. Much to his dismay, this did not last long. The desire to improve was never compatible with his lifestyle. Guns, luxury cars, very provocative women, and damn alcohol. A recipe for disaster. Louis believed he was involved with Mexico's drug trafficking. We will never know. What we do know is what led him to his grave. A video, just a video, was what caused his demise. He was, as usual, drunk to the core. It's here that he comes up with the brilliant idea of provocatively insulting El Mencho. This is what he said. El Mencho, I don't give a damn about him. We don't know what led him to say this, whether it was reckless or a pressure from his supposed friends. One thing we do know for sure is that this Jalisco New Generation cartel did not take this lightly. As you may already know, no one insults El Mencho. Brutality of Mexico's criminal organizations is to be feared. The desire for virility can sometimes blind us to the overwhelming reality. It's sad to see how Mexicans are at the mercy of these inhumane beings. As expected, the four-letter cartel issued its terrorist statement. Jalisco was off limits for Louis. He had avoided stepping into CJNG territory at all cost, if he wanted to stay alive. Everything happened on December 18, 2017. What do you do if one of the most dangerous cartels in Mexico threatens you? Well, logically, you would avoid returning to their territory. That being said, rational thinking was never priority for the Pirate of Culiacán. Louis went out with a bang. Ignoring all kinds of warnings, he partied at Narento Music Club in Jalisco. It was from here that the Jalisco New Generation Cartel decided to make their move. No one could be above them, let alone challenge them. Fofo managed to escape such a gruesome fate, perhaps because his actions were not directly hostile towards the cartel, or maybe it was the sheer wealth and power of his father. We will never know. Louis wasn't fortunate enough to carry that luck. A hail of bullets extinguished his life. The forensic report stated that he received more than 15 gunshot wounds to his body. It was a bloodbath. You might think that this only happens to people who directly confront the cartels, but what about those who just seek to inform and do good? Freedom of expression is a fundamental right. In Mexico, this right has been completely distorted. Journalism and information in general are at the mercy of the desires of criminal organizations. Censorship, intimidation, and extortion are a daily reality. A tragically tragic end awaited our next subject, Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro, a 36-year-old Mexican influencer, journalist, and satirical commenter. She had a YouTube channel and an online news magazine called El Cilion, which she founded in 2012. She was best known as La Nana Pelucas, a character featured on her satirical YouTube channel El Cilion TV, both as the editor of El Cilion and in the role of La Nana Pelucas. Montenegro criticized local politics in Acapulco and the Guerrero region. She often mocked the politicians in the area. The turmoil began when she started a series of videos explaining the operational reality of different criminal organizations within the country, providing accurate and timely information to the news landscape. This obviously did not sit well with powerful figures in the underworld, who did not want their illegal operations exposed. This is where the mysterious independent Cartel of Acapulco comes in, a secret criminal organization. Their modus operandi was characterized by secrecy. This was obviously affected by Leslie's journalistic statements, who only sought to inform honest Mexicans. Homicides, extortions, kidnappings, everything you can imagine. A selfless act soon turned into a circus. Death threats, accusations of collaboration with other cartels. Montenegro found herself caught in a barrage of accusations. Leslie denied all these allegations. Still, the incessant threats continued. To them, she was a clear target. On February 5, 2018, two unidentified assailants killed Pamela in Acapulco between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. at a Todos Los Santos, a restaurant owned by her and her husband. According to his statement, two unidentified attackers entered the restaurant and immediately approached Pamela, who was sitting with her husband. After a while, they decided to act. Both men stood up and began shooting at Leslie frantically. She received 3 shots in the body before falling dead. A heartbreaking death. The assailants shot her at least twice before fleeing. Pamela was murdered because she had obtained privileged information about a criminal organization. Leslie only wanted to inform and do good, being that person who, perhaps imprudently, sought to inform and bring justice to the ordinary Mexican. All of the above mentioned shows us the influence of social media and its strong connection with the cartels. Let's delve deeper into this. Consider this. The use of TikTok by cartels is exploding on a grand scale. Think exotic animals, piles of cash, and individuals with heavy weaponry. It's like a scene ripped from Scarface. Today, these criminals are posting wild videos on their social media, attracting hundreds of thousands of people interested in the morbid. Let's talk a bit about Mexico. According to statistics, the country is heading towards another record year in homicides, and experts say that the use of TikTok has been a clever way to mask these less attractive sides of this lifestyle. Apparently, they are using these videos to lure young recruits with promises of endless money and luxury. This is not just random fun on social media. Some experts have even called it narco marketing. It's as if they're selling a lifestyle, but underneath it all, it's pure hedonism. For teenagers, it's like watching a movie, but in real life. An example of this is the case of Sabrina Duran Montenegro, a young TikToker who flaunted narco culture in Chile. This girl, influenced by the culture of cartels, based her content on a relentless display of the criminals' extravagances. Cartels practice forced recruitment. A new UNICEF survey states that gang recruitment is driving families to flee their homes and seek asylum in other countries. Approximately 35,000 children and adolescents have been recruited by criminal gangs in Mexico, engaging in illegal activities that jeopardize their lives. So, what does TikTok say about it? Well, apparently, the platform is cooperating with law enforcement to address organized crime. They are removing any content or accounts that promote illegal activities, which is at least a positive point in this whole phenomenon. The interesting thing is that this online drug trafficking culture began more than a decade ago, when Mexico intensified its war against the cartels. Back then, everything was raw and violent. Decapitations and unimaginable acts posted on YouTube to intimidate rival gangs and show the government how ruthless the cartels could be. Today, the videos are much more polished. For example, videos from the Jalisco New Generation Cartel showing off uniforms, big weapons, and cheering for their leader alongside a bunch of armored vehicles. Now, regarding these TikTok videos, some are still meant to terrify you. That said, there's a growing trend of videos seeking to recruit young people for illegal activities, selling them the dream life, lots of money, fancy cars, and attractive girls. The strategy right now is to retain the youth, the next generation of a country. It's as if they've turned violence and organized crime into a kind of twisted entertainment, even adding some idealistic melodies for that final touch. Unbelievable, ain't it? Remember to subscribe and comment. See you soon.